You know what they say, every masterpiece has its cheap copy. And nowhere is this more prevalent than in the movie business. Yep, from such classics as Triassic World to the profoundly moving The Amazing Bulk. Get ready for a wild ride as we look at some of the most hilarious movie ripoffs ever. For the Birds. 1963 horror classic The Birds did for seagulls what Jaws did for sharks. The movie follows a series of mysterious bird attacks, with the feathered fiends painted as movie monsters. It's one of the most famous pictures by iconic director Alfred Hitchcock, so it's no surprise it would inspire future filmmakers, right? Enter 2010's Birdemic shock and terror. Oh no. Widely known as one of the worst movies ever made, Birdemic was written and directed by auteur independent filmmaker James Nguyen. Now, this guy's heart was certainly in it, but he came just a hair or a feather short of matching the suspense of the birds.
Here they come!
Okay, a whole lot of hairs short. Birdemic's plot revolves around birds getting fed up with how mankind abused the environment and deciding to just declare war on us. So they dive bomb into buildings, peck people to smithereens, and spit acid. Classic bird behavior. In the end, some doves fly past and inspire the killer birds to seek peace instead. Yeah, that's right. Straight after massacring a load of people, they mercifully decide to give mankind another chance and just leave, okay? With laughable special effects, horrid acting, and editing that looks like it was done with Windows Movie Maker, Birdemic is so bad that it's amazing. Any guesses on how much this all cost? Reportedly, $10,000 over the course of 4 years, which is a lot more than it looks. Jeez. Birdemic definitely sucks, but I thoroughly recommend this one to any connoisseur of cringe. Metal Iron Hero Man. In 2008, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man flew into theaters, and movies would never be the same. The movie follows Kyle Finn, a young man who puts on an experimental suit of armor and gets stuck inside. He uses the power the suit gives him to— wait, hold on. That's not Iron Man. It's Metal Man. Released in the same year as Iron Man, Metal Man, sometimes known as Iron Hero, is a mockbuster. Mockbusters are low-budget rip-off movies released on DVD around the same time as their inspiration. The aim? To confuse someone's grandma into buying it for their grandkid instead of the real deal. Only this is what they find. That was quite possibly the lamest takedown I've ever seen. Not to mention that awful suit. It looks more like a rubber monster from 90s Power Rangers shows than a mechanical marvel. Heck, at least Power Rangers had great fight choreography. This, not so much. Yeesh. The production company behind this disaster, Summerhill Films, is a name you'll definitely hear again before this video is over. It's no stranger to schlock like this. After I struggled my way through, I took to IMDb to see how others fared. This guy put it best when he warned, "Do not operate heavy machinery after watching this movie. Side effects may include drowsiness, lack of focus, drooling, loss of faith in humanity, and rectal leakage." Ugh. I couldn't have said it better myself. If you're enjoying watching me suffer for your entertainment, why not drop a like and subscribe to my channel? That way you'll never miss out on another video. All finished? Great. Let's take a deep breath and dive back into more ridiculous ripoffs. An Optimus Crime. If you had to guess which movie 2007's Transmorphers was ripping off, I'm sure you'd say Transformers. And you'd be right, partly. It was totally designed to rip off the blockbuster, but in name only. You see, this one actually rips off Terminator's dystopian future more than the battle between Autobots and Decepticons. What a twist. The movie follows a group of beautiful survivors in leather jackets planning to take back Earth from its mechanical conquerors. They sit around underground, bickering with each other for most of the runtime, and sometimes, if you're really lucky, you get to see some giant robot action. Yes, the special effects are laughable, like something ripped straight from a bad PS3 game. I guess now I understand why they're so reluctant to give us good looks at the robots. So, who's responsible for this travesty? The answer is the Asylum, probably the single most notorious purveyor of mockbusters in the biz. I mean, one look at their website and you get a good idea of the breadth and quality of their back catalog. Who else loved 2020's Top Gunner? But Transmorpher's biggest problem isn't its shameless knockoff-itude. It's that it's supremely boring. The plot, if you can even call it that, is just a bunch of stale Hollywood cliches held together with duct tape. I'd follow the advice of IMDb reviewer Captain Capcom here when they say, don't watch it. If someone gives this to you as a gift, throw it away and punch them hard. The only way one can view this film is having one's eyes taped open, tied to a chair, with a vomit bucket close by. What an endorsement. Super Zeros. He's one of the most recognizable superheroes in the world, stalking the night in a black cowl as he hunts criminals and brings them to cold, hard justice. Also, he's bat-themed. That's right, it's the Black Bat. 2012 mockbuster Rise of the Black Bat was released by genius director/rock star Brett Kelly. You know, the man responsible for such smash hits as Ouija Shark, Raiders of the Lost Shark, and Jurassic Shark. Clearly, he wanted to branch out with Black Bat. As well as being far too dark, it's boring, poorly made, and designed solely to ride the hype of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. But who is the Black Bat? Well, he's Tony Quinn, a lawyer blinded by acid who gains superhuman senses to... wait, hang on. Didn't Daredevil get blinded, then develop his superpowers? The Black Bat is just the secret love child of Marvel's Matt Murdock and DC's Bruce Wayne, right? Well, no, actually. Let me explain. Rise of the Black Bat represents a brand of mockbuster I like to call the Super Zero. Super Zeros are low-budget movies made to cash in on the popularity of mainstream superheroes by using the Z-list, royalty-free comic book characters from beyond the dawn of time. That's right, Black Bat is actually a super old comic book character that came out before both Batman and Daredevil. But the Black Bat's movie outing is utter garbage that had me bashing my head against the wall, begging for it to be over.
You put on quite a show, believe me.
Glad you enjoyed it, scum.
Yeah, so Bruce and Matt still have one over on him, and with the movie currently sitting at a miserable 1.3 out of 10 on IMDb, I'm not alone in that opinion. But don't worry, there are plenty of other Super Zero movies out there, like 2010's Avenging Force, The Scarab. Ew. This rancid flick follows, again, a bunch of royalty-free characters in a tropey superhero movie knockoff. See such classic characters as the Scarab, Lady Satan, and of course, Black Terror.
And all you'll remember is terror. Black terror.
As well as having the cheesiest lines, he's sporting the worst Punisher cosplay ever. This turd of a movie was also lain by our good buddy Brett Kelly, which explains why the Scarab seems to be wearing the exact same mask as the Black Bat. The whole thing feels like a clear Avengers knockoff. And given that Marvel was building towards the first Avengers movie at the time, it's entirely possible. In the finale, the Scarab wants the magic scroll or whatever, so allows himself to get beaten up for nearly a minute straight for basically no reason. Yeah, I won't subject you to the full sequence because I don't want anybody to unsubscribe. The last Super Zero I want to show you today is 2013's Captain Battle: Legacy War. 3 guesses what this poster wants you to think of. In it, a soldier is mortally wounded and saved by his medic pal's magic super serum, becoming Captain Battle. Despite such a unique plot, the movie shares the dubious honor of scoring 1.3 on IMDb with Rise of the Black Bat. So, unsurprisingly, it sucks. I don't think I need to say it, but this is clearly a lazy attempt to capitalize on the newfound popularity of Captain America after his big screen debut in 2011. Heck, they even have a big red villain a la the Red Skull for the final showdown, or at least slightly red. Looks like their budget didn't allow for more than a brush worth of face paint. And who's they? No, not Brett Kelly this time, but Summerhill Entertainment, the filmmakers responsible for Metal Man. What champs? Which of these Super Zeros looks the worst? Sound off in the comments below and let's share the pain. Life didn't find a way. Remember earlier when I mentioned the Asylum? The infamous purveyor of putrid responsible for transmorphers? Well, back in 2018, they tried their hand at a dinosaur mockbuster to coincide with the release of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Steady, girl.
This is the creatively named Triassic World. Unlike the Jurassic movies, which resurrected dinosaurs for use in a billionaire's dream amusement park, Triassic World has a much stupider justification. The scientists resurrected dinosaurs so they could grow human organs inside them for transplants. I feel like there were steps that should have been taken long before that. Like Transmorphers, Triassic World is super reluctant to give you a good look at the half-baked CGI. So this is about as good as it gets. There goes the whole budget, but Triassic World's biggest crime is that it's actually just serviceable enough to avoid being so bad it's good, which means it's just bad. Say what you will about the actual Jurassic World movies, but I'd prefer to watch them over this drivel. A Muggle movie. Who can forget the first time they heard that iconic line, "You're a wizard, Billy"? Yes, many of our childhoods were shaped by the mystical adventures of Billy Owens. I'm yanking your chain, of course. Billy Owens is a 2008 Canadian Harry Potter ripoff produced on a shoestring budget. I mean, the cast was likely paid in shoestrings found in the director's attic. So, if you've ever lain awake at night wondering what exactly a Canadian Harry Potter would look like, well, here's your answer.
Abracadabra! Alakazam! Please! The magic word really is please.
It's exactly what I thought it'd be. When Billy Owens turns 11, he learns that a world of magic and monsters exists. With his 2 friends, Canadian Hermione and Canadian Ron, he meets up with a little goblin fella, fights a dragon, and even hangs out with wrestling legend Roddy Piper. It's genuinely amazing to me that they managed to get an actual celebrity to appear in this crappy movie. A movie that one reviewer angrily remarked they want to fight. I can't imagine why.
Someone turning 11?
Mr. Mold, did you know that the chances of being born at the stroke of 11 on the 11th of November are 137 million to 1?
What to do now, B.O.? Cry?
Did you know that baby snakes are often more dangerous than their parents?
Go to the Phoenix. He can help you with the final challenge.
Did you know that octopi change their color when they're frightened?
Did you know that friendship is the strongest bond between 2 friends?
Seriously, what is this? It seems like the writers Googled Hermione Granger, saw that she's the smart one, and just had her replacement spew these annoying factoids at random intervals. Makes me want to hurl. And I hope you're sitting down for this last tidbit. Despite how much this thing sucks, it somehow got a sequel 2 years later. My brain hurts enough from the first one. Though I suppose if you wanted me to take a look at the second Billy Owens extravaganza in a follow-up video, I'll do it. But you wouldn't want me to do that, would you? Right? Whoever wins, we lose. 2004's Alien vs. Predator is a weird movie that blends two mega-popular action horror franchises together. It's okay, but its 2007 sequel, AVP Requiem, is a suckfest. It is, however, better than its seemingly state-mandated asylum ripoff, Alien vs. Hunter. In this mockbuster, a cyborg hunter crash lands on what seems to be Earth and ends up locked in a battle with an alien. It's mindless action schlock, which isn't that much different from Requiem. Where it does differ is the quality. Oh boy, that acting. Okay, the design of the alien is actually pretty cool. It's a weird spider-looking thing, which does make it different to the Alien franchise's Xenomorph. But this is an asylum movie, so we only get very fleeting looks at the guy. The hunter, however, well, as one IMDb review so eloquently puts it, it looks like it has a salad bowl on its head. Oh, and one other thing, after the alien goes splat, the hunter returns to its spaceship, where it takes off its salad bowl and reveals, it was a human all along. Wait, so the planet was not Earth? I'm pretty sure it was, but the hunter crash landed, so where was he from? Don't expect any answers. This dookie movie is never gonna get a sequel. Gosh, I hope. Fairy Tale Freaks. Back in 2016, the world was cursed with Suicide Squad, a movie best described as utter doo-doo. Then, while we were all reeling from that, the Asylum crawled out of their dank hole in the ground to fling Sinister Squad at us.
Get away!
Stop it! What?
One look, and you'd be forgiven for dismissing it as a standard one-and-done knockoff. But no. See, Sinister Squad is part of Asylum's public domain fairy tale character cinematic universe, or PDFCCU, as I've taken to calling it. Which means it's got Goldilocks, the big bad wolf, and Rumpelstiltskin, who looks more like Hannibal Lecter, in it. And as part of the PDFCCU, it's actually a spin-off of Asylum's Avengers Grimm movies, making it a ripoff that's a spin-off of a ripoff. But I'm gonna go on record right now and say it is probably the highest quality movie of the bunch. It's not good or entertaining, don't get me wrong, but the actors are mostly serviceable. Production values are fine, and the story is relatively coherent. Relatively. For some reason, goofy cartoon sound effects play whenever Rumpelstiltskin, and only Rumpelstiltskin, does, well, anything.
Well,
Make it stop, please. Mac and cheese. Let me tell you a wild story. Back in the 80s, producer R.J. Lewis, who famously worked on The Karate Kid, had a groundbreaking idea. He believed Ronald McDonald and E.T. were more well-known than Santa Claus, and because of this, wanted to create E.T. for a new generation using Mackey's branding. Yes, you heard that correctly. Unbelievably, the head honchos at the Golden Arches heard him out and loved it. The result was 1988's Mac and Me, a movie that, while having far greater production values than anything else in this video, is utter detritus. Best described as the McDonald's version of E.T., it's a cynical, cringy mess filled with product placement. The flick follows a boy named Eric who meets an ugly little alien named Mac and its family of dirty freaks. The whole premise of this movie rides on the alien family being cute and likable, but they're the polar opposite. Still, the most hilarious part is the product placement I mentioned. The aliens love Coca-Cola, and when Mac is injured, drinking the sugary soda even nurses him back to health.
This must be like what they drink on their own planet.
So subtle, but of course this is McDonald's E.T. after all, not Coca-Cola E.T. So how do they subtly cram in that advertising? Yep, There's an extended dance sequence at McDonald's. We're talking several minutes long, complete with Ronald himself, happy clapping cashiers, and impromptu choreography. Jeez, McDonald's must be the happiest place on earth. This spine-chilling sequence leads directly into the final act, starting with a complete ripoff of E.T.'s Final Chase, only with a wheelchair instead of a bike, and ending with Eric, the child protagonist, kicking the bucket in a horrendous gas station explosion. Did I stutter? Oh my god. Oh, and the explosion was caused by the aliens. Cool. How on earth the same producer from The Karate Kid worked on this is honestly beyond me. Luckily, the disgusting gremlins resurrect Eric, not with Coca-Cola or McNuggets, shockingly, but with space magic. To reward them, they're granted U.S. citizenship, and the movie ends with the following promise. They were never seen again. We can only hope they all died. Pacific Rim. It's pretty amazing that 2013's Pacific Rim was so good. It's tough to make a movie about giant mechs fighting monsters compelling past the first half hour. Something the Asylum proved when they puked out their own version the same year, the imaginatively titled Atlantic Rim.
Woo! I think I can smell a stank-ass breath from here.
Wow, incredible dialogue. And the acting in this one is bad even by the Asylum's standards.
Mom, you need to get out of there. Get Dad, get everyone. Everyone's gonna die. Get out of there.
You need to get everyone out now. The creatures are killing everyone.
What even is there to say about this abomination? It sucks, and I feel like I lost a significant number of brain cells sitting through it, which according to the IMDb reviews is very much a shared sentiment. What do we have? Terrible and not even in a fun way. Toilet rim, steaming pile of poopy, and then my personal favorite, a simple what the heck was that? Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Snakes on a train. Okay, fun game. See if you can get what this next one is a ripoff of. It's called Snakes on a Train. You unsure? The answer is 2006's Snakes on a Plane. Haha. Okay, maybe it wasn't so difficult. Again, this is courtesy of Asylum. And again, we've got a boring slog of a movie with poor performances all around.
What?
I don't know, it was like a rat or something shot past my foot.
While Snakes on a Plane took the correct approach in not taking itself too seriously, Train does the complete opposite. It always takes itself super seriously, no matter what.
Somebody could take an x-ray or do a blood test.
No.
It could save her life.
She has snakes. There's no doctor who will see this.
That said, the premise here is at least a lot more novel. In Snakes on a Plane, gangsters release the snakes to stop the plane from reaching its destination. In Snakes on a Train, a woman on the titular train has been placed under a Mayan curse and, well, it makes her barf snakes. Okie doke. Train also has a huge leg up on Plane in its ending. The OG ends with the snakes being jettisoned from the plane, the craft landing, and anti-venom getting administered to the survivors. At the end of the Asylum movie, the cursed snake woman eats the snakes, which somehow turns her into a giant snake, and then that eats the train. Then a magic talisman summons a tornado and sends the giant snake flying away. The absolutely crazy ending is the only memorable part of the whole experience. But what do you think? Is the whole majorly stupid supernatural stuff here more entertaining than the original? Hey, let me know down in the comments. Truly amazing. And now, dear viewer, we come to the grand finale. Rest assured, I've saved the best for the end. Take a deep breath and enjoy. This is The Amazing Bulk, and it's the best worst movie I've ever seen. Released in 2012, Bulk here was obviously riding the superhero hype of the day with a ripoff of The Incredible Hulk. Legally distinct, of course. See, the Hulk is green, and Bulk is purple, so it's a totally unique character. In this completely original story, a mild-mannered scientist named Henry Howard attempts to make a superhuman formula for the military. He's also truly in love. If it's not abundantly obvious, the entirety of this flick is shot in front of a green screen, with liberal use of stock assets. The brilliant minds behind it must have bought a jumbo value pack of backdrops, characters, and props and just flung them all together, mind-blowingly. Anyway, Henry's girlfriend Hannah is the daughter of his angry military boss, the General. And he won't give our hero his blessing to marry Hannah unless he proves the superhuman formula works. So, Henry tests it on himself. Enter the Bulk. Yeah, not quite what you had in mind by superhuman, right? Regardless, the General tasks the Bulk with dealing with an incredibly overacted German supervillain. So our purple hero invades his castle, which is apparently only guarded by two guys in t-shirts. After making his way through the halls to the bad guy, Bulk and Henry dispatches of him easily. But here's the twist. Following his victory, he's betrayed by the General, who sends the military after him, leading to the single greatest chase scene in cinema history. Holy cow. Well, that's pretty much all she wrote. Henry and the General fall dramatically off a roof and conk it shortly after this. What a journey. But we're not done yet. This movie is clearly in a different league to anything else we've seen. What the heck's the story behind it? Well, the director is a guy named Louis Schoenbrunn, an indie filmmaker who fell in love with the idea of making a superhero movie using only green screen. The Bulk was the end result and cost a grand total of $14,000 to make, almost 11,000 times less than 2008's The Incredible Hulk, which had a budget of $150 million. And $2,000 of the Bulk's budget was spent on all those CG characters and sets. Unfortunately for Louis, reviewers were, less than kind. But Big Lou hasn't been dissuaded. In fact, in an interview, he claimed that anybody who believes his movie is garbage is just jealous that they aren't filmmakers like him. That's certainly one way to deal with criticism. Either way, I'm firmly on board for Bulk 2. And with that, I really don't think I can take any more of these. Which of these ripoffs did you find the funniest? Have you ever seen any of them before? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.